Hi everyone. I know it's been a while, but been taking care of a lot of things. But I wanted to get to a very special topic today. I was asked by one of my students about this 2 weeks ago, and and she's new. It's like, what's the difference between a congress and a festival and an expo? And she's talking about bachata, of course, and some salsa. Uh, and what are they? Because sometimes she sees weekender. So congress and festival is no different. But if we're talking about 15 years ago, like 16, 17 years ago, the only event that was, like what we know now is Congress, and it was called Salsa Congress. And if you're new to the dancing, you don't know what the heck that is. What is a Congress? Is that a form of government or anything? No, it's just a get together thing, and it was created by Albert Torres and friends. They coined that Congress. Um, and then when we started bachata, promoting bachata all over the place, um, that was around 2008, 2007. Because we wanted to be different, we coined it festival. And mind you, the way we knew about festivals in the Latin world is outdoor, right? A lot of vendors, food, concerts, but it's all outdoors in the park or something, or we close down the street block. But then, when we changed that, we wanted to be different, to be honest with you, okay? To be frank, we wanted to be different than Salsa Congress when we started bachata festivals. Uh, and the very idea then, because at that time when we started it, bachata festivals were, you know just that, bachata. And of course it was small, and so it was very intimate. And so that was the difference then, because there was not many performance. I mean, back then, how the heck could you perform bachata with few moves, right? Because it was very traditional. And then, of course, with our backgrounds, whether it's salsa, or whether it's kizomba, or whether it's tango, when we started bachata, our influences, our background, played a big role in developing our own style of bachata, as we call it now. We call it bachata fusion or bachata modern, you know. But that was a difference then. But now, you could almost compare Salsa Congress is the same as Bachata Festival, because now it's not exclusive. If you're talking about Bachata Festival, the title is okay. Let's just say San Francisco Bachata Festival, then a lot of people will be expecting kizomba room. A lot of people will be expecting salsa room, what have you. Okay, um, at least in the case of SFIBF, San Francisco Bachata Festival, yeah, we have a salsa room, and then like this year it's going to be two rooms of central bachata and then traditional bachata. So that was the difference then. Now, the first type of congress that you would pay attention to is, it depends on what you like as a consumer, as a dancer. uh, are you just there to watch performances, or you're just there to social dance and get to know people? That's a big factor. If you are into performances, then the salsa congress influence, you would know this because there's a difference. Like, hey, is it a bachata based congress, or is it a salsa based congress? That depends. If it's a salsa based congress, the title of the event will always have salsa first. I can't go wrong with that, and nobody will ever correct me in that. Okay. If it's a bachata based congress, the title will be bachata first or only bachata. Okay. Uh, there are salsa congresses that were then 100% salsa. Now, because they added bachata, they would say salsa and bachata congress. But you know full well that that is a salsa influence, because if you've been in the scene, if you've been on the scene, uh, for a while, then you would know that they used to be salsa congress. Now, the difference is that most salsa congress people are really performance based. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that you're talking about from 50 performances to 80 performances on a given night. So, what are we talking about? That's probably 2, 3 hours or more because they start early and then they end up around midnight or something. Um, Now, if you like that type of stuff, if you like to watch shows like that, that is your thing. You look for the name of a festival or congress that is first salsa congress or SBK or SBKZ. That S stands for salsa, okay, and the rest is just an add-on, okay. Now, if you like social dancing only, um, look for a congress that says salsa congress or bachata congress only, but what you are looking for is the performances, the schedule of performances, of how many performances are going to take. Now, if this is not posted on the website, on their own official website, you can always contact the promoter. Do you happen to know, and ask the promoters, like, hey, how many performances on a given night? How many performers are coming? You know, and another question is, during the performances, is a room specifically for social dancing open? Because some of the attendees doesn't really want to watch the performances; they just want to go straight to the social dance room, or they want to watch 1 hour of the performances, or they just want to watch their favorite teams, and then after that they go into social dancing. Now, the disadvantage of that, though, is that most of the great dancers, now when I say great dancers, we could define that. Most of the great dancers, you know who they are, and then specifically the teachers. They're not there to social dance with you. Okay, they're watching performances or they're prepping their team to social. Even the taxi dancers, for that matter, are there supporting their friends who are performing, and so therefore your social dance room during the performance is vanilla. It means, eh, what are you gonna do? It's just probably 10, 20 people there, and it's pretty much probably the people that you know already that you dance every week with. So again, there is that. Now, the second one is there is a congress that concentrates on both. Now, this could be there could be a balance of number of performances and on a given night. So let's say, I mean, I rule of thumb for me is if it's not less than 30, if it's more than 30, and I'm really stretching this because if it's more than 30, then we're talking about probably 2 hours of performances on that room. Uh, so if it's less than 30, I think you be good to know that that particular congress is really into social dancing. Okay, number one, number two, they dance. They have particular rooms. They have the traditional room. They have the salsa room. They have the modern room, or what we call central room now, uh, because they are very aware of certain attendees and certain dancers only prefer one style. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of that. And I'm not a believer of learning only one style of dance. I'm a believer of learning all kinds of style because in social dancing, you should be able to say yes to everyone to every style. We can't say, hey, is it on one or on two? And we're talking salsa, right? Now, when it comes to bachata, do, do you want a body roll or not? See, those type of questions. So, for me, a multi-dimensional dancer is at best, and that is the definition of a very social of the very definition of social dancer. Okay, so there is a congress that concentrates on both, but you get to know that type of congress if you constantly attend them. If it's just your first time, it's probably always good to ask people that have already been there. Okay, so social dancing. And then there is the outdoor type. Now, I've been seeing a lot of event lately that are for trips, like let's say the Dominican Republic or Costa Rica or certain Latin countries. And what they do with that type of event is they take you to the beaches, which is good. They take you to the clubs, which is also good, uh, and you just dance right there. Now, if you like that type of thing, that means your outfit is always going to be shorts or bikinis, or there's no dance floor. Okay, you're going to be dancing on the sand or concrete, uh, and you're tanning because it's an outdoor. And usually, when this happens, it's in a city or a country where it's predominantly tropical. You know, whether it's in Miami or Dominican Republic or what have you. Hawaii, of course, that's another one. Uh, that's only like that's just for that event solely on outdoors only. But there are other festivals now who host pool parties, okay, who host beach parties, and of course you would know this if they're in Miami or in Hawaii or any tropical type of city. Then you would know they have outdoor stuff as well as indoor stuff where they have dance floor where you don't have to hurt your knees and what have you. Uh, I forgot. There's another type of congress where they concentrate. Well, if they're into social dancing, let's just say this, okay? Because I already mentioned social dancing, concentrated based on social dancing type of congress. You know full well that during daytime, they really want you to learn to dance, and so you could look at the schedule of workshops. How many rooms? How many teachers at the same time in 1 hour? And what are the title of the workshop? What type of workshop they are? Uh, it's not just that there are a lot of workshops during the day. You also want to see what type of workshop are they offering. Now, are they for beginners specifically? Are they for intermediate specifically? Or are they for advanced specifically? Or most of the time, if there's teaching just concept workshop, which is probably the most important for me in my opinion, if it's just conceptual type of workshops, then we're talking about all levels. We're talking about musicality, we're talking about timing, we're talking about leading and following, we're talking about mastering the fundamentals or basics. Those are all levels on which everyone is welcome. Um, now, workshops specifically for beginners are very important because 90% of the Congress and Festival now concentrates on advanced dancers. And so the beginners or even intermediate are very, very much intimidated. And I called him out on that one because it's always good to convert or recruit beginners. And the danger of this, of just advanced dancers, and you could sense this in their workshops and whatnot, okay? And even the teachers that are teaching beginning workshops or fundamentals, they're really not teaching beginner workshops or fundamentals. They're teaching advanced, where they're not looking at the students. You have to look at the students whether they're getting the workshop or not, okay? So you have to pay attention to this, then you would know it's like, okay, there's something in it for me as an attendee. I'm actually be able to learn, and I'm actually be able to learn of my favorite teachers if they happen to be teaching there, you know, and all of that kinds of stuff. And then there's competition. When you know that there's performances and competition on a given congress, and if you don't like that, if you just like to social dance, don't go there. Okay, you're wasting your money. Okay, so again, it depends on what you like as an attendee, as a dance attendee, what you want to get from it for yourself. Okay, so there are the performance type, social type, or both. That means it has to be balanced, or outdoor type of congresses. Now there's weekender. What's the difference? Weekender could mean just 2 days or 1 day, or it could be the whole weekend as well, except it's probably not done in a hotel, it's done in a studio or it's done in a club and you do the workshops there. And the artists are not that many. Okay, they probably just have 4 people in the lineup. Okay, whereas the Congress, and festivals have 30 plus or more artists coming from all over the world. Okay, so you always want to get to know. You always want to get to the official website of the Congress and festivals, and every question should be there. Every question's answers should be there in the menu of the website. If it's not, look for the contact info, whether it's email or phone number. By the way, phone number, I don't know about you, but some promoters prefer text, and I do prefer text. Don't call me. Do not leave a message. Text me or email me. I prefer email first. Now, if I don't get to respond to email first, because there's like humongous amounts of messages that I get, including spams, text me. Texting would be the probably the best, whether it's WhatsApp or message me on social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. So that's the weekender. That's the difference between the weekender, between the Congress, between the festival, and the types of Congress and festivals that you're doing. So anyway, at least you have a great idea now on what to pick depending on what you like. With that in mind, we're still doing the Hawaii Bachata Expo, which is the fifth, not the fifth year per se, fifth edition, because there were some years that we skipped. We started the Hawaii Bachata Expo, and at that time, Hawaii Bachata Festival in the year of 2011, I believe, 2010 and 2011. And then we went on, and then we took a year off and 2 years off, and then we started again, and then pandemic came. So it's now fifth edition. It's still going to be at the Alohilani Resort, which is right in the center of the Waikiki Strip, right across the beach, just 50 steps away. Um, so, bachataexpohawaii.com, bachataexpohawaii.com. And yes, we will have indoor and we will have outdoor activities. Okay? Not to mention a live band. Okay? That's another thing. Live band, it's something really cool. Now, when we're talking about live band, guys, I didn't hire a live band where they have no instruments and they're just playing with tracks. No, it's a live band. You would have live instruments, okay? You're not wasting your money. um, the 15-year anniversary of the San Francisco International Bachata Festival, SF5EF. Notice the festival, I never change the name because I've always promoted bachata, still promoting bachata, so I don't add any salsa to it in the title. It's always going to be strictly bachata in the title. Now, don't get me wrong, we have a kizomba room, we have a salsa room, because most of the dancers now are multidimensional. And of course, we're encouraging bachateros because there's like, what, 60% of bachata people don't want to dance anything else or don't know how to dance anything else. And so we're giving these dancers, this fellow bachateros and bachateras, the opportunity to learn other dances. In that way, they can enjoy the full experience of social dancing. Okay, so San Francisco Bachata Festival, which is the 15-year anniversary, SFIBF.com, SFIBF.com, is happening in July 29th to the 31st this year at the San Mateo, San Francisco airport area. So, how far is that from the airport? About 50 minutes drive from the airport. There's going to be a shuttle, free shuttle, but there's a window of opportunity. It's only 6 hours duration every day for that one. The only difference is you don't pay for the parking this time, and the rate is cheaper than it used to be. Oh, and by the way, going back to Hawaii, if you're in the Waikiki area, the strip, where everything is a walking distance, our rate is only 259, as opposed to the regular price, which is 359 to 450. Uh, yes, it's very expensive in that area. So if you can book your room using our website, bachataexpohawaii.com dash hotel or slash hotel, please book it there, because otherwise you're gonna spend arm and leg when it comes to the hotel, other hotels. And by the way, it's 259 a night, but we have a discounted also with resort fee, which is $20 only. So you have to pay attention to the resort fee, because that adds up in the very total at the bottom when you purchase your hotel. So don't forget that, okay? But anyway, that's the difference between Congress, festival, weekender, performance based or social based, or both, or outdoor based or a weekender based. Um, we'll be touching more of other issues and questions about the Congress and festivals and dancing in general. Just keep your questions coming. I know there are a lot of questions in email that I get, and most of this email questions have already been answered by a lot of people, and so therefore I don't get in touch with them. Only I think certain issues that are not being touched on, and which I would touch on. So rodchata@gmail.com if you want to ask me a question. Rodchata@gmail.com. All right, we'll see you soon, guys.